Welcome to another episode of the Miami Real Estate Show. Today, I have the pleasure to interview Nitin Motwani, the principal for one of the biggest developments in Miami right now, Paramount WorldCenter. With over 500 residential units, a soccer field, 5 swimming pools, and tennis courts, it's one of the best and biggest developments right now, right in the middle of downtown Miami. Nitin talks about his humble beginnings, his mentors, his education, how he became such a great developer, and also about the 3 P's for success: perseverance, persistence, and passion. Without further ado, I leave you with Nitin, one of the best interviews we've done for the Miami Real Estate Show. Great insight, especially for the real estate industry. Make it a great day.
Paramount Miami WorldCenter will stand 700 feet above the phenomenon destined to be the new epicenter of Miami. Miami WorldCenter, with 30 acres in the heart of downtown, combining retail, entertainment, transportation, and unparalleled amenities, all in one place. Featuring over 500 of the most luxurious and unique residences in Miami, Paramount will change urban living. Residents will thrive in the heart of the Magic City, with every desire just an elevator ride away. Watch as Paramount becomes an integral part of Miami's transformation.
Welcome to another edition of the Miami Real Estate Show. Today I have the true pleasure to interview Nitin Motwani, developer for Paramount and the Miami WorldCenter. So it's a pleasure to have you in the Miami Real Estate Show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm looking forward to this interview. We had a great briefing right now. So many things you have to share with the audience. So hopefully I can get all that information that you have, great information that you have. So let's get started. Tell me a little bit about your background. How you got involved in business, and how long have you been doing real estate?
Sure. So I grew up in a small motel family in Fort Lauderdale Beach. We own some of those small spring break motels that have since been torn down. Went through some struggles, humble beginnings, and my parents worked very hard. And my brother, seeing the struggles they went through and trying to transform Fort Lauderdale Beach, actually decided to not live in South Florida and not to work in real estate. So we both went to college in North Carolina at Duke University. We both went to New York. I became an investment banker working at Goldman Sachs. So I was very far from South Florida and very far from real estate. And very quickly I realized that my passion was in South Florida and in real estate. So in 2004 I moved back after getting my master's in real estate from Columbia. And moved back to Fort Lauderdale initially, and in 2006 got involved with Miami WorldCenter.
And what made you decide to come back from New York? You were working, I believe, at Goldman Sachs. I mean, probably the greatest investment banking firm in the United States. You went to schools, that are specifically designed for the financial world. What made you come back to South Florida?
Life is short, as often said. Unfortunately, my father passed at an early age, but he lived a life more than most, and because he was always passionate about whether it was his family or his vision. And I wanted to do the same thing. I didn't want to be doing. I had a great boss. I worked at a great company, and I had a great life in New York. But it just wasn't something I was passionate about. And I realized I was passionate about South Florida, and I was passionate about real estate. So it took me a couple years. I had some great years in New York, but then just decided this was where my heart was.
All right. Now, on your way to how successful you are today, I'm sure you had some mentors or some guidance. Can you name specifically somebody or a couple of people that were mentors, through your career?
Sure. So I've been blessed throughout my career to have great people around me that I consider mentors and friends. I'd say 2 of them that really stand out. One is my mom. After the passing of my father, I was 15 years old, and she turned into a single mom with 2 young kids, going to public school. We lived and worked in these motels, so she worked really hard. She kept the business growing. She thrived. She actually helped turn it from a mom and pop motel business to a development company. She sent 2 kids, to good schools and took care of us. She cooked 3 meals a day for us, so she never missed a beat. She taught us perseverance, persistence, and vision. To the utmost
perseverance,
persistence,
and vision. Okay.
You know, I still laugh today when she's with my kids. She has more energy than I do.
Okay.
So I think that really instilled a lot. In
now she's a mentor to your kids.
She's a mentor to my kids, and really, and to me, you know, she really just never took no for an answer.
Right.
And Fort Lauderdale Beach, you know, she played a very pivotal role in what's happened there.
Okay.
And then as my career evolved and I moved back, I met my current partner, Art Falcone.
Okay.
Art is an incredible visionary who came from very humble beginnings and became incredibly successful in his own right, and has just tremendous vision. And beyond his vision, he has this conviction. Because sometimes being right doesn't mean you're right away.
Like so sometimes being right
doesn't mean you're right away.
Very good.
And Miami WorldCenter is a great example of that.
Yeah,
and,
tell me exactly. So tell me about what you mean by sometimes being right doesn't mean you're right away.
So when I met Art, he was interested in Miami and in urban projects. He made his wealth building a lot of the suburbs all around the state. He was the largest private home builder in the state of Florida. He sold that business and wanted to get into urban projects. So we now have offices in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Boca Raton, and Miami.
Right.
We've got 52 projects under development, mostly urban projects, because he saw that trend really happening. And as part of that, he said, I believe in Miami. Miami will be a global gateway city. And so through good times and bad, you know, we stuck through Miami WorldCenter, and we're ecstatic today to be sitting in this incredible sales office.
It is.
With this incredible project.
Which we're going to talk about.
Good.
Now, let me ask you a question. What did you learn? I know you learned many things from all, but something that stands out, and something that you truly learned from your mom, we know it's persistence, it's perseverance, and then vision, right? What about from Mr. Falcone?
So I think a lot of it is just the vision is right, but I also think it's the passion. You know, when you have passion about what you're doing, it lives. You have conviction. And so, you know, through good times and bad, through whatever people tell you, whether it's reporters, whether it's colleagues, whether it's, you know, competitors, if you believe in something, stick with it. And good things tend to happen.
Now, other than believing in yourself, which is critical, I mean, if you can believe in yourself and in your projects, it's almost impossible. If you can sell it to yourself, you can sell it to others, right? Now, what are some of your personal attributes or characteristics that made you successful in the real estate business? You've been able to create a fund, a real estate fund, which is extremely large. What do you think are some of your personal characteristics that makes you so successful in real estate?
So I think the key thing is being surrounded by great people. You know, having great people like Art Falcone, you know, standing next to you or in front of you or behind you really helps you to grow your business. There's great partners in our fund that helped to make that a reality. And there's great partners at Miami WorldCenter that help to make that a reality. You know, we have Dan Kodzie with Paramount, Forbes and Taubman with the mall, MDM with the Convention Hotel, Marriott, Bloomingdale's, Macy's. So I think great partners and great people around you help you to grow your business. And I think that's crucial. And just personally, I think, you know, it goes back to kind of the 3 Ps that we mentioned: persistence, perseverance, and passion. You know, and I think that helps you get through the good times, which are easier, and the bad times, which, you know, makes it a lot more difficult.
Now, in the development business, through the years, I know you had, I'm sure you had many challenges or failures. One in particular that stands out, and what did you learn from that challenge?
You know, December of 2008, when I was getting this project approved for the first time, the market dropped 500 points while I was giving my presentation. And it was actually one of the commissioners mentioned that. So we were happy, we got a unanimous approval. We were unhappy because people lost billions of dollars of wealth that same day. And the Great Recession ensued. And Miami was the epicenter of the Great Recession last time. You know, there were a lot of different characteristics to this market. And so what we learned from that was there's certain things that are just outside of your control. You can have the right land, the right vision, the right plans, opportunity, financing, but when the world changes and the greatest recession in 100 years hits, there's not a lot you can do.
So how do you deal with that situation that many of our viewers went through in 2008? What did you do to come out of it?
Well, you know, we
and what do you do during the situation?
We all had a couple tough days during that time. I think that it goes back to just the passion and believing in what you're doing. So there's not a lot of cities that we would have maintained the conviction we did, but we just believed in Miami. And so at the time, going into the Great Recession, we were less than 20 acres, and today we're 30 acres of land.
So when do you buy the acres that initially?
We started in 2009.
2009.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, you know, the belief in the project didn't quiver. We knew that long term this was the right play and this is the right city. I think we all knew Miami was going to come back. We just didn't know how long it would take.
Right.
And it surprised us with how quickly it took in a positive way.
Right.
Because now we're sitting in a market that is one of the most interesting in the entire world.
Exactly. Now let's talk about Miami a little bit. What did you find? What did you see about Miami 5, 6, 7 years ago that made you believe in Miami and make such a huge investment, especially in downtown?
So a lot of great cities around the world have grown in their older cities. They've had a chance to mature. They've gone through good times, they've gone through bad. They've found what their culture is, what their heart is. Miami is still figuring that out. You know, 10 years ago we were a very young city. Today we're still a young city that's evolving. But we think it's evolving in a way that makes it the city of the future. And what I mean by that is when you think about the people that live here, this is a true melting pot.
It is.
You know, you sit at dinner and people probably speak 5 to 6 languages. You look at the buyer profile of Paramount, we have over 30 countries represented. What building in the country can say they have over 30 countries represented?
Right.
And I think we've matured a lot in the arts, the culture, the food, the entertainment, the education. Transportation has become the top priority. So in all these different areas, I think that Miami is just growing and maturing. And we felt that was going to happen, and we've been pleasantly surprised with how quickly it's happened. I think the opening of the Perez Art Museum, next year the Frost Museum of Science, the Performing Arts Center, the New World Symphony, just shows this other side of Miami. You know, people would see it for Art Basel for a couple of weeks. Now they can see it year-round. The cuisine, every major celebrity chef from any part of the world wants to be in Miami. Take Zuma as an example. Their first location in the U.S., downtown Miami.
Right.
So, you know, it's this incredible melting pot of interesting people, interesting cultures, now great food, now arts, culture, entertainment. And we think that we're going to fill in the hole in the donut and really take it a little bit to the next level.
Definitely. Now, going to Paramount, this is not just a building, all right? This is and that's what I wanted in the interview. This is such a unique project. We have over 25 restaurants, I believe, in this, in this development. We have a soccer court, we have tennis courts, we have over 5 pools. You have Bloomingdale's, Macy's, over what, 1 million square feet of retail. Then in the back, Miami Worldcenter, you have the Marriott Marquis. So tell me a little bit about it. I mean, I can, you know way more than I do about this project. So what's so unique about it, about this huge development?
Well, I'd say, you know, the development in general, you don't often get to own 30 acres of land in downtown.
In any city.
Let alone in Miami.
In Miami, exactly.
And let alone where $5 billion of investment happen around you in arts, culture, entertainment, and transit. And so we just felt that gave us a unique opportunity and a responsibility. Because what we could have done is we could have just built a number of condos one after the other. And you know, that's often been a successful tactic in Miami. But we just felt that we could do something different. And so we started to design kind of from the street level up. So we chose Elkis Manfredi, phenomenal architect that's worked all around the world, did Time Warner Center, for example, in New York. And we said, listen, we want to focus at the street level. How does it feel to push a stroller, ride a bike, walk with your girlfriend down the street, you know, feel safe, feel comfortable? So we started at that level. And so we took the city mandates 5-foot sidewalks, which you see throughout. We're doing at minimum 15 up to 35-foot sidewalks, which means we encroach on our land. We're creating our own public parks because we think it's important as the city urbanizes to have these pockets where you could go outside and have lunch or enjoy the beautiful weather that Miami is so well known for. And then we also wanted to create a mix of uses. So bringing in Bloomingdale's and Macy's was a huge accomplishment. You know, they bought into the concept that we wanted to do. You know, Marriott doing the convention hotel was great. We've been working with All Aboard Florida for a while now, so we've been planning their 10 acres with our 30.
Which is about, what, 2 blocks away?
2 blocks away.
Yeah.
It touches our property. So we have 40 acres being master planned from the street up, because for them, the pedestrian experience is also important, which is why they elevated their train. So when you fast forward to Miami 5 years from now, you have 3 stops on the Metro Mover. You have 1 stop on the Metro Rail. You have All Aboard and Tri-Rail coming, so you can get to 28 cities along in the Tri-County area, plus up to Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach, and Orlando on the express train. And now there's talks of bailing, connecting South Beach to Miami.
Imagine if that happens.
Imagine.
Right? Which I have no doubt of that happening.
Exactly. At some point it becomes
it's
obvious,
going to happen.
Right?
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And there'll be one stop, and that will be at Miami Worldcenter in downtown. Right. And when you look at the streetcar, which is hopefully going to connect downtown to Design District, Wynwood, Midtown, East Edgewater, neighborhoods that didn't exist a few years ago, there's only one stop that will be in downtown, Miami Worldcenter. Right. So when you start to think about what life is like 5 years from now in Miami, we're going to be sitting at the epicenter of transportation,
right in the middle of downtown.
The epicenter of arts, culture, entertainment. You mentioned the restaurants, food, beverage, great retail. So we're really excited, and all of that's going to tie together with this incredible pedestrian and park public space experience that no one else can offer because they just don't own that kind of property.
Right. Which is Plan Miami 21 and the city of the future, which is walkability, mixed use, architecture, open spaces, and we have all that here in Paramount, right?
That's exactly right. And you know, the challenge with Miami 21 or the challenge with other areas, they can implement that on projects going forward. Right. But there's buildings that have been around for 100 years. So what do you do with those?
Right.
We own vacant land that we can develop, so we get the ability to design it the way we want to from the ground up.
Yesterday I was doing a talk for a real estate company, and I was doing the talk with another panelist, and he was talking about the walkability score, and we were talking about that prior to the interview. Can you talk a little bit about how important it is, and you invest in other cities, I mean in your fund, so and you take a look at the walkability score. Can you explain to the audience how important it is, the walkability in a city?
Yeah, so in our fund business, one of the first criteria we ask in our investment committee is, what is the walkability score? We just think that's important and will become more important as the world evolves and people continue to want that lifestyle. With regards to Miami, it's challenged because historically it wasn't a priority, and over the last 10 years it has become more and more of a priority. And I think it will improve because I think all of the developers, I think the politicians, everyone appreciates it. But the challenge is you don't control all of your environment. You may create a wonderful public space in front of your building, but your neighbors that have been there for 30 or 40 years may not have, right? And so that's what the difference is, I think, with Miami Worldcenter. We're able to make sure that everyone, whether we're developing the project or someone else is developing the project, that they comply with these guidelines that we've put in place, which is to ensure walkability, ensure bicycle-friendly areas, ensure comfort for people pushing strollers, or just a couple walking down the street.
Which we see happening in Brickell, we see happening in downtown Doral, we see happening in Midtown, we see happening even in Kendall, Miami Beach. But this is, as you said, you have your land and you can do pretty much whatever you want, which is design it on your own, by yourself.
That's right. You know, Armando Codina, who's always been a visionary above the cut in development world, you know, he owns a lot of land in downtown Doral, so he's able to do something different.
Similar, right?
Exactly. And it's an incredible opportunity when you can do that, because we've all traveled and seen great cities around the world. And Miami, it just wasn't a priority because Miami evolved during the time when suburbs were the place to be, not downtown. And downtown in Miami has evolved dramatically in 10 years, right? When we think about the population doubling in size, we think about the investment in arts and culture. Downtown Miami is the place to be. That's where that's where all is happening. That's exactly right.
Now, for the viewers, maybe the buyers or real estate agents, what are the 3 key points that you mentioned about Miami? The future of Miami is not only about selling the building, it's about selling first, you know, what's happening in Miami. I talk to many residents in Miami, and when I do the presentation on Miami, many of them are, I mean, they can't even believe what's happening in Miami. What are the 3 key points for you when you're talking about Miami to an audience, to a buyer, to a real estate agent? So the takeaways.
Sure. So I think the first is, as I mentioned, over 30 countries are represented in our buyer profile. There's not a lot of buildings or cities that have that luxury. And I think the more people that discover Miami, the more people that love it. And I think the more people that come here, the more interesting our city is, right? Because it's a very unique melting pot.
What's so interesting about Miami?
Well, let's talk about the people, right? So if the people are all from 30 different countries, again, just picking on our project, imagine the types of conversations, imagine the types of arts and culture. So when you go to our museums or our performing arts centers, it's not the same shows you're going to see in every other city, right? These are unique shows, plays, musicals that come from all parts of the globe. It's also about the cuisine. It's just also about the people. When you're having an interesting conversation with someone who's from Caracas versus from London versus Hong Kong versus Sao Paulo, there's just this interesting nature about talking to people that come from all parts of the world. And so that's very unique to Miami, because not only do they come here, they feel comfortable here.
Home.
So
they feel home. It's home.
It is actually home to everybody. And I think that that's only going to increase. You know, the second part of it is, I think there was recently, you know, 2 years ago, a flight to Qatar was announced, direct flight.
We were talking about that. That's very important.
And so what happens, right? This is an area, a group of investors who historically didn't really come to Miami. The moment that happened, since then, we've seen a Qatari group buy the St. Regis Bal Harbor at over $1 million a key. Abu Dhabi Investment Authority bought the Edition Hotel in South Beach. So suddenly a direct flight happens, and now we're seeing buyers of condos, buyers of hotels, buyers of office building coming from the Middle East.
Great point. Great point.
So think about what changes. You know, our friends in South America have long discovered Miami. They were forward thinking and first movers in this market. But now folks in the Middle East are starting to figure out that what Miami is.
This is a great point, because now we always had the South Americans, for the political, for the economical and security reasons. They've been coming here for the last 25, 30 years.
But it also goes back to the fact that they all felt comfortable.
Exactly.
Because there's a lot of places they could go
they could
spend
go,
their money.
but they feel home here.
This is home.
It's close to them. They have pretty much the same culture. So we had the South Americans. We still have the South Americans. Now, we start getting the New Yorkers, the Californians. I mean, the taxes in New York, in California, it's, 8.82%, plus you pay Manhattan taxes, city taxes in California is 12.3%. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So you have all these people coming to Florida, where we don't pay income taxes at the state level, and we don't pay inherit taxes. So it's a great place to live. So you see a lot of U.S. citizens are living now in South Florida. But now you have that factor, which is the people from the Middle East. I mean, one direct flight changes everything so much.
And by the way, I would think you'll find that in the next 2 to 3 years, there'll probably be 2 or 3 more airlines from the Middle East. And so now what happens when there's a direct flight from China or from India? And so we're starting to see investors. There's a big Chinese group that bought a site on Brickell. You're starting to see it, but the direct flight impacts things a lot. And we've got great people at running our airport that are making that a priority. So I think that part will change more. The more that our airport can connect to the globe, the more countries, we'll see 40, 50 countries represented in our buyer pool next time we talk.
By the way, one of the biggest investments right now happening in Miami, it's MIA, the Miami International Airport. It's more than $6.4 billion in infrastructure. We're going to have a convention center, business center, hotels. I mean, it's a huge, huge development happening in the Miami International Airport.
Yeah, no, that's right. And I think the last part of it, as we talked, is the transit,
And so there you go. Very good.
It hasn't been a priority for everybody. Now, there's not a conversation you'll have with a politician, elected official, or developer that doesn't revolve around transit. And so for us, that was important into the design of our project. So our Metro Mover stops will be integrated into the design of Miami Worldcenter, making it easy to get around in the Metro Mover, Metro Rail, connectivity directly to all aboard and Tri-Rail, Baylink to South Beach, streetcar around all the different interesting neighborhoods popping up around downtown. And so what quickly happens is you get a mix of people feeling comfortable from no matter where they come, people more easily being able to come here, and the last part is people being able to get around. And so Miami Worldcenter sits in the heart of all of that. We're the closest. Paramount is the closest project in downtown to the beach, to the airport, and it's surrounded by transportation, world-class restaurants, great world-class retail, arts, culture, entertainment. So that's what we started with, right? We had great ingredients. And then we really, worked hard to create an incredible design that we're very proud of.
So we have the walkability, we have the restaurants, we have the mixed use. Of course, you have Bloomingdale's, Macy's. We have the entertainment in the middle of the downtown Miami. What else can we say about this great project, Paramount?
Well, let's just say that Paramount in general would be an incredible building no matter where it stood. It just
How many units, by the way?
513 residential units, private elevators, 10-foot high ceilings, curtain wall glass, a 7-acre amenity deck. And so I have young kids. Having a kids park where they feel comfortable. Imagine a 7-acre urban oasis, 130 feet in the sky, as downtown continues to develop. Forget about the 30-acre museum park across the street or Bayfront Park. This is your home. I mean, this is you come downstairs, you can play tennis in the morning, take your kid to the kid park. You've got pools, cabanas, we've got it's a soccer field. I mean, this is an incredible place, not just for the single guy or single lady, but also for families. And so we built units that we think are livable. You know, instead of having these little pocket balconies that no one ever uses, but they look great, we created these outdoor living rooms. So you can actually spend time outside enjoying the beautiful weather. So there's a lot of touches, including technology. This building is so technologically advanced.
For example, can you give me?
For example, you know, we've at minimum we'll have Nest for everything will be digital. We'll have a Paramount app that will control your Nest, so you can adjust your climate. You know, you'll have Sonos speakers, so no wires anywhere. Your speakers will be playing. And we're working on some pretty cool other technology that I'll let our salespeople hold for all the viewers here who come in to see our team. So technology has been important. Design's been important. You know, Art and I were very proud to work with Dan Kazi on this deal. You know, he coupled with our architects at Elkis Manfredi and ODP, you know, we've come up with something that's just, we think, is a very special project.
Very good, very good. Nathan, it's been a pleasure to have you in the Miami Real Estate Show. Thank you very much for having us in your beautiful sales center in downtown Miami.
I just want to give one personal invitation to everyone watching. Please come visit our sales center here at Paramount. At 1010 Northeast 2nd Avenue in downtown Miami, in the heart of it all. And come see this model for yourself.
Any website that we can visit?
At ParamountResidences.com, ParamountMiami.com.
Perfect. So there you have it, guys. Until next time, make it a very, very productive day. Take care.